We're back.
Ah, we're back.
Yes.
Okay, good. But when I saved it, Ekene, I went straight onto my feed. Is that what it does?
Yes, it gives a preview.
Okay.
A preview onto your.
Okay.
It's on your
Okay, good.
feed.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead with Claire's question?
Yeah. Well, okay. Yes. Claire's question was: there's some men that have a hard time when the woman makes more money, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So before I even get to that, I'd like to talk about one thing as well, right? So I'm all about make your own money, get out there. I love the idea of a partnership. I was saying before I talked about Claire's thing, right? I want to give Claire a chance to get on too, right? I want to point out something. There's a phenomena that I've been seeing, right? Especially with women who are working, lady bosses, so to speak. I think it's a wonderful thing to share the finances and all of that, but you have to be careful because there's some men who I think now who are also thinking about what I call they want low maintenance, high yield partners. So they're not prepared to do a whole lot, right? But they want high yield. You are the one doing all the work in the house. You are the one doing all the work outside of the house. You're bringing in the money. You're doing all the work. So you want to be mindful that when you are connecting with people, that you're connecting with people who value you for you, not just your earning power. Right. So I remember when I was a pharmacist, I remember a guy I dated and he immediately started calculating. When I bring in he said, how much do you make? And then I said, what kind of question is that? He's like, oh, I know how much pharmacists make. And he started calculating. And when I add in literally on the date, he didn't even know when he was speaking it aloud.
Oh my goodness.
And I will be able to get this kind of car and I will be able to do this and I will be able to do this. So basically he was looking at me as a laborer.
Red flag.
Yes. Fine. Well, needless to say, that was the last date because I was going to do this. And you have to be careful because some women get into a situation where you're valued just for your labor. You're valued for your physical labor as a parent, as a mother, as a wife, as a cook, as a cleaner, your financial labor, your emotional labor. Some people even just value you for your spiritual labor. Please pray for me, pray for me, pray for me. Pray, you're the leader. Can you pray for us, right? So I think it's important to be mindful of that. The other side is Claire's point, right? Where some men fear women who make money. I think that we also have, as we're talking about the work that women have to do, men have to do work too. Some men have been socialized to be afraid of women who make money because they think that women who are powerful are going to automatically be emasculating. It's not the same thing. Some women, when you're financially empowered, some women truly, this is why we talk about doing your work to heal. If you have been, if you come from a background where some things happened, you have some baggage around that, without even knowing it, you may be that person that throws your money in his face every time. Every 2 seconds, you're throwing money in his face like, I don't need you, all of that. You may do that. Maybe he's had that kind of experience in the past. Maybe that is his baggage, right? So if you are encountering that, I don't think the answer is to then stop making money. Right? That's money is not the issue. It is his relationship with money. It's his fear around money. It's your relationship with money, your fear around money. So then you have a conversation and you start to unpack and you have 2 conversations. One is a conversation with yourself. Am I showing up differently because I'm making more money? Am I not present to his other needs because I'm making more money? Am I full of myself because I'm making more money? Am I being the woman I want to be because of the money? So that's one conversation with yourself. The other conversation is a conversation with him. Like, I see you treating me differently because I'm making more money. Is that a problem? Like, tell me why. What's really going on? Help him unpack it. Ask him what's going on. Like, get to the root of the matter. The money is not the issue. It's his idea about what will happen with the money. Maybe it's also shining a light on him. Maybe he feels like he should be making more money. So ask those questions. If he's willing to answer those questions, maybe you need to go to a counselor to discuss it. Maybe you need to encourage him to get a mentor. This is another thing I tell marriages. Like, I wish I knew this back when I was young, right? Couples, you need mentors. People need mentors. You need marriage mentors. You need counselors, you need coaches. So when you encounter these sorts of problems, these problems don't have to do you in, right? You can work through them and come to the other side. But money is never an issue. It is our relationship to money, our fear of it, the way we, some of us worship it. So those are the things that cause trouble. Those are things that cause trouble.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to add one thing into that. I think we women also need to dispose of the idea that men, especially for the younger ones, I think as we get older, we get it. We have to dispose of the idea that men are there just to provide us with money. There's a lot of other things that men can provide in the relationship. There's a lot of other things, because when you think, and you should make a list of all the things that are needed in a home, then you'll know that there's some men that actually do a lot, but not that they shouldn't provide money. Men should, because if a man isn't financially productive, he's probably, that relationship is going to have problems. Men want to be providers, but there's a lot of other things that men also provide, honestly. Because, and in my current marriage, it's like, you know, we're both financial partners, both financial providers, but there's also so much else that Neil contributes in the home that just makes me feel, oh gosh, I'm so glad I have a domestic partner as well. So women, we need to change that mindset and stop thinking that men just have to be the bank and I will be the person who does the groceries and cooks and does the cleaning. And there's a lot of other things that men can do to make your life so much better. I make dinner some days, Neil makes it some days. I make lunch some days, he makes lunch some days. You know, he makes my tea every morning. It's a routine. You know, he brings my tea to me every morning. I have some things that I do all the time, you know. So there's many things that a man can help you with. And I know it's culture, and I knew that my dear friend Claire was going to say that the culture causes that. But we can now, as women, start to look for men who are like that, who are not going to, whether they're white, green, black, orange, or red. And that's another mindset. This is another topic for another day. You don't have to marry, if you're a Yoruba Nigerian woman, nobody said you must marry a Yoruba Nigerian man. Nobody said that. The person that's going to make your life happy may be a Lebanese man, okay? The person who's going to make you happy may be somebody who's Spanish. There's a lot of mindset things, and this is why I'm discussing this. Common mistakes we make in relationships. Because you're Igbo doesn't mean you have to marry an Igbo man. Be open. And I know, yes, if you live in Nigeria, of course, you know, those are the people you meet. But even in Nigeria, we have our own cultural restrictions.
That's right.
You know? So be open. And if you live abroad, it doesn't have to be a Nigerian man that will bring you your happiness. It doesn't have to be. So when you're dating, remember that the man isn't just there for money, money, money. What if it's a man who's going to help you with so much else, where you can take care of yourself? That's right. Extent. Ekene, right? What you maybe
I 100% agree.
Yeah, please.
And I think also one of the mistakes women make in dating is training men at that point also that they're only there for money. So you are dating him, and because you've been taught be wife material, you're dating him and you start doing above and beyond. You're cooking, you're cleaning, you want to show him how valuable, and you're teaching him that you're only valuable for your labor.
Yes.
So when his friends come, you don't sit down with him and have a conversation with his friends. No, you're like, how wife. And you start running around and you train him that you are a servant and that he's only valuable for money. You train him that way. So when you are dating, we have to shift out of this idea that, oh my God, someone has got to select us.
Yes. Ekene, speak it. I'm getting goosebumps.
Oh my God, because we are taught that. That's what they teach you. If you don't know how to cook, if you're not this, you're not that. But the truth of the matter is, there are men that are like that. And if you behave that way, you attract that kind of man. It's better for that kind of man to see you and know you're not that kind of man and kind of woman and leave you to your peace. But there are many men who are open and evolved, and that is actually what they desire, a partner. They desire someone they can talk with, someone they can grow with, someone they can pray with, someone that they're partners. And you show them who you are. They show you who you are in the dating time. The dating time is not the time to try and cuckold him into marrying you. The dating time is so you can know who he is and he can know who you are. You can know if you're real partners. This business of, and that's why I said at the beginning of the last thing that let's change this idea that who you are and your value has to do with your marital status. Because as long as you think that being married means you're more valuable than being single in any way, shape, or form, You will continually perform so that somebody can pick you out of your status.
Oh.
Then you get into it. Yeah, but let me tell you, premium tears. Do you know how many women are crying? Premium tears. Because you're stuck in a marriage where you, with your own hands, entered it, you know, and you know this is not the right fit for you. But because you were told somebody has to choose you and you're killing yourself, things that you're not really keen on. Especially like for me in my age, right? I'm a good cook. I know how to cook. But when I visualize my future, I do not see myself sweating and in the kitchen 24/7. That is not my future. So that's something that is required. I'm not the one. Boo.
Yes.
That's okay, right?
Yes.
So you have to be at peace with yourself, and you have to know your value. And then I agree with you about the provision. I was thinking about it the other day. Do you know, I was talking to a good friend of mine who's a guy, right? And he was telling me it was Saturday, and he's saying, oh, I'm out here cleaning the gutters of the house, and he was talking about just the housework he was doing around the house, organizing, and he was fixing some things. And I was like, oh, you better go. Come on, husband.
Yes.
That's a husband.
Yes.
And I said, you know, I was saying to someone, don't choose a man who wants a wife. Choose a man who wants to be a husband. Because husbanding is not about signing a check and say, oh, I paid school fees, I paid the mortgage. Husbanding is about tending and caring and making sure. That's provision. Like, I want to make sure, is your car okay? Let me check the tires on your car. Let me make sure that, oh, things are, you know, that's, even if he doesn't make as much money as you, right? If he can take care of, then you know you're cared for.
Oh.
You know you're
Speak
loved.
it.
Oh
Speak
my
it,
God.
Ekene.
Gone are those days of you just write a check, you pay the bill, and you vanish in another country somewhere, or you go, you're always with your boys, and then you're there. You have money, but you have no support, no companionship. Please.
Ladies, I hope you're listening. Oh, hey. Ladies, I'm going to put the Niger thing in here. Like my mom would say, are you listening to wisdom? Are you listening to what Ekene is saying? Oh, I'm doing this because I'm tired of all your messages. I didn't say you shouldn't message me anymore. But are you listening? Honestly, are you listening? Because it's not just about money. Let me tell you something. Money doesn't bring anybody happiness. Yes, money is important to pay your bills, to pay this and that. Money doesn't bring anybody happiness. It's not about the fantastic car you have parked in your garage. There's more to life than money. Money is important, but it's not everything. If you have a husband that adores you, that is helping you with some housework, that, you know, slaps your bottom when you're walking around the house, and please, can I? No, it's true.
I see you.
Yes. Yeah. You know, you know, when you're settled in your marriage and you're both partners and you're helping each other, and he sees that you're a supportive wife, and we're getting to the most important question of the day, because that's going to help us wrap this thing up. Because we women, we have our wahala and our trouble. We get grumpy.
Yeah.
I said it in my last video. We get grumpy, and I'm saving that for last.
Yeah.
But women, when you're dating, the man will show you who he is. You better listen and believe it. And women, stop chasing men.
Oh my God.
If you're chasing a man, you're not going to know if he likes you or not. When you're dating, you don't need to plan the dates. You just sit in your beautiful self with your flashy J. Crew earrings and your pink and red lipstick, dressed nicely, smelling nice.
Bloom like
let
a flower.
him do.
You're blooming. Like
yes, let him do the work, so you can decide if you want to choose him or not. You get to choose him. A man doesn't choose you. And the way you're going to choose him is if you just relax in your femininity. Don't buy him gifts. Don't buy a man that you're dating gifts. Don't. Some of you do that. You're buying them cologne. You're buying them things when they're dating. You're asking if you should pay for dinner and lunch. I'm sorry. I'm very conservative when it comes to that, but that's me. I'm not going to ask a man if I should pay for his dinner or lunch before I get a ring on my finger. He's going to pay for that. Let him chase you, so you can decide if you want him or not, so that you can look at all these things that Ekene is talking about. Is he going to help me with housework, or is he just somebody who wants a model wife who's going to sit at home and be quiet, hush, and be a homemaker and have no value? Some men want that. If that's not what you want, don't choose that guy. So
Can I just add one more thing
Yes.
area
Yes.
about choice? This is why I will continue to preach spiritual growth, spiritual awareness. There are some men, though, that are very skilled. They know how to be what they think you want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be wonderful while dating you. Whatever it is you seem to require, they will rise to the occasion. And then when you enter the marriage, it's a one chance type of situation. And so there's some people who are narcissistic. They are really good at the dating. They know how to do it. This is why spiritual discernment is key. So if your spirit tells you, even though everything he's doing is right, but you're having nightmares, you're waking up, please listen to your spirit, listen to the Spirit of God, trying to avoid it so you will not get into something dangerous. Because some men, there are men who literally have playbooks. They know, and I've seen them, they know the kind, oh, this one, I know this kind of woman. They have the case study. So they have literally scripts. They know. There are some men that are practiced. They are practiced. They know, particularly when you're successful, because then you're very, you're attractive. They want you. So they have their agenda. Don't let anyone slide you into the agenda. That's why you need to be on the Holy Spirit's agenda, so that such people will be far from you. It requires prayer and fasting. I'm serious, because this is a serious situation. Getting in is one thing. When you get out there, you understand something. You need to be very careful. Know who God is, so that you will now know the right man to choose.
Very important, guys. Very important. So, Ekene, are you ready for the last question?
Okay, let's talk about it.
Yes, I don't like stereotypes. I honestly don't. But there's one stereotype I really need to talk about today, because if I don't, it will be doing this whole conversation a disservice. We will not be saying it as it is. And because a lot of us have migrated from Africa, and we're now living in the States. And, it's a little different. Culture is a little different, but we're here now, and we're having our daughters and our sons here. Yes. So we need to piece this down. And there's the stereotype out there. I didn't know about this stereotype when I was in Nigeria, but the stereotype exists here in the States, that Black women are angry. And I did publish a post on a blog post last year in 2017. I don't remember when it was, about this same topic, that Black women are actually, that's not God's decision, but it's statistics, that Black women are actually the least desirable to all men, even to Black men. Even to Black men. The group of Black men that were interviewed also said Black women are angry, and they're actually lowest on their list. That's the study I read. So, and I understand it's a stereotype. I know the first instinct, knee-jerk instinct, is to want to combat it and say, what are they talking about? Black women are angry, whatever, it's racism, it's this, it's that. But Ekene and I, there were people who advocate doing the work and looking within. There's no smoke without fire. So that Black women are angry statement is not completely false. So ladies, humble yourselves with this one, and please listen to what Ekene is going to say. So Ekene, are we angry? Are we domineering? Because that's what they say we are.
Okay, so before I answer the question of looking within, and there is a looking within. Iyabo said there's no smoke without fire. There is some smoke, there's some fire there that we need to talk about. But before we talk about that, I think it's so important, because I want to, I'm not sure about those stats, right? Because a study can be skewed. And I think that there's a lot of constant messaging to women of color, Black women in particular, that we're not desirable. We are, period. I know I am. So you better look in the mirror and tell yourself you are. Don't let anyone tell you that you are not desirable.
Oh, yes.
You're not beautiful. You're not lovable. So I want to make sure that we stop the narrative right now, right? But we will talk about some of the reasons for that we can take control, right? There are biases. I want to at least acknowledge that. One of the things I do is diversity and inclusion work. I'm trained in that. And so there is a lot of unconscious bias around Black women. The truth of the matter is, what is seen as passion in other groups is immediately seen as anger in our group. And what is seen as standing up for yourself in other groups, immediately all a Black woman has to do is look left, and immediately it's seen as angry. So at least I want to acknowledge that, and we don't want to pretend as if there are not systems of inequities that are there. That being said, what can we do? How can we address it? How can we look at it? What do we need to own? One of the things that I've seen is that a lot of women, well, I shouldn't say a lot, women who come across as the angry Black woman are often dealing with being in wounded masculine. So because of the world that you live in, right? If you have been brutalized, if you have been oppressed, if you have gone through life, often what happens, so we have masculine and feminine energy. Feminine energy is the softer power, so to speak, right? Pliable, more nurturing, more creative, more intuitive. You know, that's the femininity that we tend to recognize. But femininity is best when you feel protected and provided for. Mm-hmm. But if you always have to go out there and hustle, you have to go out there, you know, you have to do the providing, you have to, no one is protecting you. You didn't have a father in your home to protect you. You don't have any spouse. You don't have anyone to support you. You feel as if you have to fight all the time, like that color purple. All my life, I had to fight. You're going to be in wounded masculine. And a lot of women are wounded and they're in that masculine energy place. And so they're ready. They're like, okay, you look at them. Remember how I said a heal, because if you've been bitten by a snake, the next thing an earthworm comes, you're ready. You're like, not today, not again, not today, Satan. You're ready because you have been so wounded and you're in wounded masculine. And that's how you know how to be, because you have to hustle every day. And we don't talk about that enough, you know, especially with the new, for me, when I talk about feminine energy, one of the things that's really important to me is that when you talk, Google feminine energy, YouTube feminine energy, you will see most people talking about feminine energy in the context of getting a man. Feminine energy is not about getting a man. It's about understanding who you are, understanding how you can be most balanced and how you can live your best life with or without a man. Because if you can lean into your feminine and you heal and restore, I had to do that work for myself. And now I feel like my life, let me use a word my daughter hates, my life is juicy, right? My daughter hates that word. She feels it's kind of icky. I'm like, it's a juicy life, girl, right? And it's not about who I'm partnered with or who I'm not partnered with. It's that I enjoy my life. I enjoy being a woman. I allow myself to be soft. I allow myself to be intuitive. I allow myself to be receptive. But so many women have been so wounded and they're stuck in that confrontational, aggressive, I'm not going to take any mess. You go into a relationship and you're already like, oh yeah, let me tell you, I'm going to get him straight. He's not, you know, because you're bringing in all the wounding. Some people are bringing in generational wounding. Yes. From generations. You see some people, mother went through this, grandmother went through this, and they transfer the trauma. Yes. Right? And the patterns of trauma. And so you keep carrying it. And when you meet that woman, and I've met even women, I remember a woman, and let me tell you about wounded masculine. It damages you in other ways. I had a conversation with a woman. I wanted to buy a program she was offering. This was not a cheap program, but it was a business program, right? And I had questions. So I had talked to her salesperson and I had more questions. But and again, I understand because I've been there. I used to be wounded. But I was calm, I was kind, and I was asking these questions. And she said, you know what, let me get you on with the main person, the coach, because she can probably help you answer some of these questions because it's her program. So I'm like, yeah, sure. Because I run programs too. People sometimes want to talk to me. Yeah, why not, right? Because it's expensive. It wasn't a cheap program either. It was pretty significant. So and let me tell you, but I had my card out like this. I was ready to buy. So I was literally on her website. I was pretty much sold. I was just ready to pay. When she came on the call, immediately, well, let me tell you, she was so combative, so rude. I just took my card gently, my wallet. And she said, you know, so do you think, are you ready? Do you, I said, me, I don't want any emotional abuse in my life. So I just put my card back. Yeah, and you know, and when I got off the call, funny enough, right, I said, wow, that's a woman in wounded masculine. Yeah. Because she doesn't even know me. We weren't having a negative conversation, but she's trying to show power. trying to not, because she's so used to people exerting power over her.
Yes.
So without even knowing her, I can say, like, you don't even know me. And she's, huh. And so many women were like that. You see them, they're aggressive in the street. You're aggressive, you're controlling, you're rude. It's because you're wounded. And when you talk to some of those women, talk to them in an unguarded moment. And next thing you see the tears rise, or they're honest, like, wow, yeah, wow. Or like they've been holding their breath for so long. You're exhausted from fighting for so long. Somebody just gives you a place to rest, and you're like, wow, I didn't know it could be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing I tell women, you know, there is some truth there. And if you hear your man consistently saying that, and I've been down that road, right? Consistently talking about you're always looking to fight. You're always trying to prove, right? That could be your masculine is hitting up against his masculine. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to ask yourself some hard questions, like, what's really going on here? Let me check myself. You know, I've had so many women write me about being in difficult relationships, right? And I always say the same thing. Take the time to do your work. Ask yourself those questions. Am I wounded? And how can I heal? How can I restore my feminine energy balance? How can I get back to myself? And even if he's not worth it, because sometimes he's not willing to do his work, so that makes him not worth it, you will be better off. You'll be better for the proper husband that you're meant to have. Because you can get into a relationship with a really good man with that same energy, and you're the toxic one. You're the one making him feel bad. You're the one damaging his self-esteem. There's some women, when you see the way they talk to their man, like, finish the man. The man doesn't even know whether he's coming or going, right? So you can be in that place. And it's important that we all check ourselves and do our work. But you do need to recognize that you may be wounded. You may have come from a wounded place. And the other thing is, you may be in a place that is not safe. If you don't feel safe, so I've had men say, so this same conversation, I've had this conversation, and a man will be like, yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. She is exactly, tell her. And I say to him, well, hold on a minute now. A woman will never go into her feminine if she doesn't feel safe. So if you are combative, if you are a wounded masculine, if you are not providing a safe space for her, if you are not doing what you need to do, then she will always be a wounded masculine. So we need to do our own work, but we also need to look at our environment as well. So I want to make sure that no one feels, and by the way, this conversation can be hard for people. Any conversation that you hear that makes you think about yourself is not something to make you feel condemned.
Yes.
The word says there's no condemnation in Christ. However, it should make you feel convicted. Conviction is different from condemnation. Condemnation has shame. You feel ashamed, and it makes you down. But conviction, like, wow, maybe that is me. Maybe I need to think about something. Conviction leads to repentance, which is really transformation. Condemnation leads to denial, projection, all kinds of nasty little things happen in condemnation. So nothing anyone should say should make you feel condemned. Certainly nothing that we're saying here should make anyone feel condemned, no matter whether you're a man or a woman. But if something connects to you, then use that as an opportunity. I mean, I'm the first to say I was wounded. I've been toxic. I've been in that place where you look at me twice. I'm like, what? Right, ready to fight. I've been there, and I now know. Let me tell you, I have a better life now. I feel better. I'm aging backwards. Some of you are aging too fast because you're fighting all the time, right? So this is real. We've lived it. I've lived it. I definitely can speak. I've been wounded masculine. I've also been wounded feminine. Wounded feminine is you're always in the victim mode. You're totally disempowered. I've been both of them. You can heal and you can grow, but it's important to take ownership of that and do your work. If you have gone through multiple relationships, same thing is being said by different men. It's not always them. You need to stop and do your work and say, oh, wait, let me check myself before I continue to wreck myself. Because a man can be amazing and be with the wrong woman and he gets damaged. A woman can be amazing and be with the wrong man. So we all owe it to ourselves to do our work.
And I did my work, guys. After my marriage failed, I did my work. And Ekene is one of the women who helped me do that internal work. So, you know, again, these things cost money. You have to invest in yourself. Sometimes when women meet, you know, people like us, they think, oh, you know, they just want us to sign up so they can enrich themselves, so they can look at me today. Some of you who sent me messages and say this and that. I invested in myself. I went to Ekene's events. I paid for her events. There was even a time that she came to my home. She came to my home and she basically took the whole, I had an event in my home for women called the Dreams Event. And Ekene, I paid Ekene to come into my home to just inspire and talk to ladies. I invested in my growth, and I've been investing in other women's growth. So all what I'm doing now, I don't have to do it. Not that I'm bragging or anything. By the grace of God, I do have my practice and I have that stream of income. But what I've gone through, I don't want any woman to go through it either. And I feel that that's why God is just bringing me out to help some women. Ekene helped me when I needed her, and I healed. I took the time to heal. I prayed. I wrote letters to God along with Ekene, along with the support my parents gave me, and I did the work. I did the work. And what I'm always saying is, Ekene, women who are already doing well are the ones who want to do even better. And I'm going to call you out again, Oida Mola. I love my younger lady friend, Oida Mola. She is so passionate and she wants to learn. And there she is. And if you notice, she's been typing everything we've been saying. But she was one of the first people that signed up for my conference. She logged in here. But she's already doing well, but she wants to do even better. Yeah. You know, even Dr. Adeyemi is on here. Dr. Adeyemi is a mental fitness coach, but she's still going through all the self-improvement. She still wants to improve. So young ladies or younger ladies, Ekene and I are not old. In fact, we're just blossoming into what God wants us to be. Yes. Yes. Well, you have to invest in yourself. All the master classes and all the classes Ekene has, she is helping women like you and I. Yes. And I just started coaching also. I'm doing it because I want to prevent you from going through this problem. I've been a wounded masculine. And it's easy for somebody like me to be in wounded. Is it wounded masculine? Because in my previous marriage, because I'm a professional, and we both had our problems, and there was also the mother-in-law issue. That one, you have to pray and fast over that one. But that's another topic for another day. But I was also in a phase of life where I felt like I was losing my femininity because I was on this pedestal thinking that, oh yeah, I'm a doctor, I'm a professional, I'm earning money. Who is he to talk to me? Who is he to, that's wounded masculine, right?
Yep. So, cut it off, talking to you, all of that. That is all that, yeah.
I learned from that's not the way to do it. Men also want peace. We forget, we women, we like to talk too much. And sometimes I talk too much. That was in my you this, but I'm earning money too, and you can't do this, and you can't. And they're like, and men are like, oh gosh, they want peace as well. They want
and they respond to vulnerability too.
Yes.
They respond to vulnerability. And when you're in wounded masculine, you find it impossible to be vulnerable.
Yes. So we have to be careful that nobody wants a grumpy person. Women, it's not that you should go to the extreme of femininity or extreme of masculinity. But your husband he just wants you to be nice and kind and just have peace. And asking for help, Ekene, we need to talk about that. Please, can you talk to all the exhausted women out there? Because there are a lot of exhausted women. And that also affects, this is a common mistake. Go grocery shopping, they want to cook, they want to drive their kids to all the activities like we do in America. Maybe that doesn't happen in Nigeria, Africa. They want to do everything and they get tired. And then they take it out on their husbands. As soon as the husband walks in from work, they start to complain and pounce on him. And, so, yeah.
So I would like to share that based on something Iyabo shared with us. There was an event I had with Iyabo attended. Do you remember? This was we were at the St. Regis having high tea.
Okay, I
So
remember the event. I don't remember what I shared though.
I will share what she shared in a second about this being exhausted, right? But before that, I wanted to point out something about investing in yourself. An interesting thing that I don't think I didn't always recognize and realize. Sometimes a woman, you see these conferences or you see these classes, you see these events, and two things. There's two reasons why women sometimes don't do it. One, you're skeptical, right? What's even this, right? Who are they? That kind of thing. That's one thing. Yeah. But there's another reason why some women, they think that when I get myself together, I'll come. Just like you kind of clean for the cleaner, right? You don't want people to you have this sense of, I don't want people to see exactly where I am, but when I'm a little bit better off, then I'll come.
Yeah.
When I lose a little weight, then I'll get a trainer. When I do, then I'll join the gym because I don't want them to see where I am now. Like, listen, you have to know that where you are, who you are, you're enough. That's the truth, right? We start where we are. I started one day when I started my work. Can I just say, when I started investing in myself and doing my work, I have to say, like, it was 10 years ago. At the time, I was over 300 pounds. And it started with one step, right? It started with one book. It started with one certification. I had to just put myself out there. And at the time, I remember people like, what is this? What have you been doing? Who do you think? Just close your ears to that and start where you are. Because you are valuable, you're worth it, your life is worth it. And wherever you are, whether you might think you're too old. Some women are like, oh, I wish I heard this in my 30s or my 20s. Now I'm 45, now I'm 50.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Start now. And you can have you want a juicy life, right? The rest of your life can be juicy. So you want to start now. And I want to say, investing in yourself, how important it is, and give Iyabo some love and some. One of the reasons why Iyabo can call me and say, "Can you do this?" No problem, we will do it, right? Because I value the woman that she is. Her grace, her generosity is unparalleled. Let me tell you something Iyabo did. Iyabo, I'm gonna put you on the spot that I've never seen anyone do. And it was a game changer for me. I had an event that I did, and this was at the beginning of when I was doing these events some years ago, and I was still struggling. A lot of service entrepreneurs are in this space with valuing your work. You know the value you're bringing, but then you also know where the market you're not yet attracting the people that can pay what you know the value is. And I had a platinum event, about 5 women. And if you remember, we went to the Museum of Fashion.
Yes.
Had lunch at the Four Seasons. It was a beautiful, luscious, and I knew exactly what I wanted to provide. I knew why it was so valuable. So we're having lunch at the Ritz-Carlton. I think we're at the Ritz
yeah.
And we're having lunch, and they've prepared this beautiful lunch for us. They had our names on the menus, and Iyabo says to us, because it wasn't just me and her, there were other women there, right? And she says, and I want you to understand, this is one of the secrets of her success, because when you look at her, you're saying, oh, she's doing this is, but this is a practice. She's tapped into spiritual law here. She said, Ekene, I don't know how you did this for the price that you said. This experience is worth at least double. And she brought out her card and she said, I need to pay more right now. Let me tell you that thing. And I was looking at the other people like, hello, do you see your... I had never seen that before. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I've now done it. I actually have replicated that. I worked with somebody and I said, your price is too low for what you've just given me. I'm going to pay you more. Because when she did that, I saw the power in that. It was powerful on so many levels. It was powerful for me as a woman to see a woman believe in me and what I offer. And Iyabo is a little older than I am, right? She's successful. Not that much older, but she's moved, she's lived, she didn't have to do it. There are many women for her, and it's important for me to call this out. She humbled herself. She didn't have to learn from me. She could have said, no, I need to learn from Tony Robbins or somebody who has a celebrated name. I didn't have a celebrated name. And she chose to learn from me. She's chosen to share what she has learned. She doesn't have to do that. And too many of us are competitive. We are selfish. We are arrogant. And this is why we don't grow. So these things are all part of her success. So as you're looking at her and you're looking at her fabulous photos and you're trying to be young, understand that there are other things that she is doing that add value in different ways. What we put out always comes back. You do not sow apples and get back yam. So you have to make sure you're putting out what you expect to receive. So I have to call that out. And then I'll speak on this thing that Iyabo said finally.
Thank you,
about,
thank you,
yes,
thank you, thank you, thank you,
I
Ekene.
have to call it out.
Thank
And
you.
always say,
Everything that I have belongs to the Holy Spirit.
that's right.
That's how I'm just, what's the word? I'm just, is it a servant or
Yeah.
everything?
You're a
My
steward.
house,
We're stewards.
I'm just a steward. My house, that's how I look at life now. My house, my money, my whatever is given to me by God, and He's given it to me not just for my own edification, it's for everybody else. So
That's
ladies,
right.
just simplify your life. People call me simplistic, but I like being simplistic. Just simplify your life by knowing that whatever you have, God has given it to you because He needs you to share it with other people. So thank you, Ekene. I did that because you had contributed so much to my healing. And it was just priceless. And I just had to do that. It was priceless. Thank you.
Thank you. And so now I will close, yes,
Yes.
with that last question about being exhausted. So, like I said, and I've taught this multiple times, and Iyabo now took it to the next level. So one of the things that we do, and we don't realize that we do it, this idea that you have to do everything. And some of you start fighting with him, right? But you've already created this paradigm. Someone asked the question, what if this paradigm already exists? And this paradigm where he doesn't do any work and you do all the work, it's a paradigm that already exists. How do you handle it? If it already exists, it's going to be hard to change the paradigm with just conversation. You can continue to do the work to kind of change his mindset. But in the meantime, you have to take care of yourself. And you can't change his mindset when you're resentful, angry, bitter. Yes. You can't do any of that. You can't do the work you need to do when you're your worst self. So you have to take care of yourself to be your best self. One of the things you may need to do, and especially if you're a working woman, you should have clarity on the things that you can outsource in your house. Period.
Listen, guys. Listen, guys.
If he's not going to help you clean up the house, right? He's not going to pick up anything, and you're going crazy. Sit down and say, where can I pare down in my finances so I can hire a cleaner?
Okay. Yes.
You need a nanny? Stop killing yourself. Get help. Like some of you are killing yourself. You think you have to do everything with your children. Your children need quality time. It's not about the quantity. If all the time you're spending with them, you're yelling and screaming, you may need to outsource some of the care so that you can spend time with them quality. So when Iyabo lived this out, she shared with us, we were all sitting at the Four Seasons. I remember Agatha was right there, remember? And I had just told Agatha Chindu, who's a friend of ours, and she's attended a number of my events as well. And she shared how this thing was, she shared about this. She shared it recently on a video on my page. Agatha is the CEO. At the time, she was the CEO of Yummy Spoonfuls. She's the founder. Yummy Spoonfuls is a major brand. It's in Target, all these places, right? At the time, she was going crazy, flying around all around the U.S., doing speaking engagement. That she would come back and she would kill herself trying to clean her house. And I was like, why don't you just hire someone to clean your house? Why are you killing yourself? And it was, you know, and then she came to tea. And we were sitting around high tea, and Iyabo said, and I will never forget, I wish I had a teacup. She was just sitting, you know, Iyabo was very dainty. She was sitting down daintily. Well, you know, really, I don't drive. I don't do this. She just listed all the things that she does not do. And I'm like, I need to get my life. It was my event. And I'm like, I need to get my life. And she talked about how, you know, initially it was an outlay of cash. And this is, you said this thing, I will never forget it because it was so profound. And it's something that I had taught, but you are a living case study. And she said, I laid out all of the cash initially, and you did this before your practice was booming, right? You started doing it when your kids were small. She hired someone to take care of her kids. She does not like to drive, so she doesn't tend to drive. She listed all the things that she doesn't love to do. And she pays someone to do those things, which allowed her to have the brain space And for some of you, it's going to allow you to have the heart space, because you cannot be loving to him and sexy and all of that when you're freaking exhausted. So she outlaid the cash, and it allowed her to have the brain space to become the woman who can have this thriving practice and write these books and all of these things. Some of you are not living out your purpose because you're exhausted. So train yourself. You are more valuable than all the stuff you're buying. You're more valuable than all that stuff. Use that money to hire someone to do the work that you cannot do. And some of you need to divorce your identity. Like, there are many women that they feel like, as if I'm a good wife, I need to clean everything. I need to cook all the food. Some of you, if your husband is not complimenting your own food, you feel as if you failed in life. I don't make stew in my house anymore. My 24-year-old, she's so good at stew. Her stew is better than mine. I have conceded.
Yes.
Stew specialist. Continue your work. I don't get myself involved in that anymore. So be free.
Yes.
You know, be free. So this is why you have to stop being so exhausted and stop fighting him to do it. If you have set up that system in your home and he's not listening, I've had women say, oh, he thinks a good woman should not hire a cleaner. And don't say I told you not to listen to your husband, but I promise you, get a cleaner. Let him experience life with a cleaner first and see how beautiful it is. Especially those cleaners that put the rosettes on the toilet paper. When he comes back and he sees his house looking like, he'll be like, why was I arguing? He may not tell you you were right, but he will stop complaining. And everybody will just continue as normal, right? Your womanhood has nothing to do with your servants. No,
it's
your womanhood is your womanhood.
Yes, yes, yes. And some of you are not having sex with your husbands because you're tired. Kenya and I will do part 2 of this. We're going to talk about sex another day. Go and listen to my video. A lot of you, your marriages are not doing well because you're saying no to your husband. If you keep saying no, he will go and look for it outside. Though. I'm not trying to say that it's your fault. That's an issue for the man. Remember, today we're looking within. We're looking at what we do. If you're exhausted and tired, and by the time you lay down at night, you're like, oh, and then in the morning you start again. You're not, an exhausted woman is not sexy, and an exhausted woman doesn't feel sexy. If you keep on, you can't keep saying no to your husband or doing it mechanically. You have to be present during sex. But we will discuss that on the second part 2.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ekene. Thank you so much. This was wonderful. So ladies, there you go. There is Ekene. You see why she's called the feminine energy expert and the iconic woman's coach. That's why. And I've experienced her in my life. And this is why I have her as my #1 person. So guys, I will put the videos on my page. If you need to contact Ekene, go to refreshwithekene.com. Refreshwithekene, is it .com?
Refresh with Ekene is my Instagram. I'm transitioning. Iconicwomanhood.com is the best place.
Okay, so
iconicwomanhood.com.
So there you go. Make sure you connect with her. And in 2 weeks' time, I'm having another guest on Teatime with Dr. Iyabo, and we're going to discuss the reverse of this. But I won't tell you all the details. So guys, just stay tuned. Thank you very much, ladies. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Ekene. God bless you. Bye-bye, ladies.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.